Hey, it's Jason with jamzDOTnet, cars, DIY, and adventures. And today is a bit of a DIY project up at the building. This is the Wavlink outdoor access point. It's made for durability. It can go up to 300 meters. And I'm gonna be putting it inside because durability is key inside the garage here at Jason and Jack's. Dust, moisture, all of that stuff happens when we're working on some of these projects. This is power over Ethernet. It can support 200 plus devices. It has a ton of antennas. It's dual band, meaning you get 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. It supports 802.3 AT and AF. It has glass fiber plastic reinforced antennas, and it's IP67 waterproof. You can see some of the applications here, and I'm super excited to test this out. Let's unbox it, let's see how it works, and let's hook it up. Let's go. Okay, let's get this Wavlink AX3000 Wi-Fi outdoor access point unpackaged and see what all it entails. So this is the unit. It feels good, nice and durable. You have the 5G, 2.4G, 5G, and 2.4G antenna. It has the fiber optic plugins there. This feels good. That feels real good. You got the an accessory box here. That's probably going to give me the main power plug. It's going to give you various bits and screws, but most importantly, it is giving me the power over Ethernet adapter. So this is going to plug in like so, and then there's going to be a cable from here to actually it's going to be a cable from here, the LAN going in to my router, and then that's going to go to the device. I already have the cable ran. Some 3M tape. I'm not going to need the 3M tape, hopefully, because I'm going to be screws. This looks like it's a weather protector. So your Ethernet cable is going to go into here, and the cable is going to run through that to keep moisture and dust out. And that's pretty much what's in the box. And then you have all of your various antennas right here. It should be, of course, 4 antennas, because that's how many are equipped on this. So I assume these are the straps to like post mount it. We'll lay those right there. And then we have 4 antennas. Be careful with these antennas. You don't want to be dropping these or anything right when you get them. Nice heavy duty. I mean, that looks legit. It says 5G, and that's going to go on the bottom, and away you go. So let's lay these to the side. I'm going to lay that to the side. I want to get to the instructions. All right, so they give you some safety information here that you'll want to read. The quick start guide, the mounting bracket, diagram. I don't think my pole is going to be wide enough for that. So I might have to mount it on a piece of wood. And then how to basically hook it up, how to add the device. Now this could be set up as like a mesh, so you can have multiple of these. It can be set up as a repeater. I'm going to set it up as an independent access point. So this is the mesh setup guide if you're setting it up as a mesh install. And then you have the quick start guide here, mounting it, how to hook all the cables up. I am doing the access point mode, so it's going to be the device, the router modem to the access point. I'm not setting this up as a repeater. I'm going to have 2 different Wi-Fi networks broadcasting in here on purpose. A reset button, configuring it, connect to PC, All right, I think I'm good here. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I am gonna mount it. I'm not gonna use the tape. I'm gonna use the screws that came with it because I'm gonna put it right on a pole in the garage. It's a wooden pole. And the nice thing is I do wanna make this where I can actually access it without having to use a ladder. So I'm not gonna install this as high, but this little sheet here is gonna give you the exact diagram you need, so that would just mount nice and tight. So I'm gonna take this sheet along with these screws, and I can just take my screw gun and basically just put it right on the pole, and away I go. So this is the garage setup. It's just a big open 1920s service station with the addition of the big side, cinder block walls, and my main access point is in the room back here. It's all cinder block. I get decent coverage, but not what I want. But you can see, even though it's a garage, I have some equipment that runs in here. The cars are running. Sometimes I'll spray it out in the summer. I didn't want to just put some dinky access point. Even the cameras I have in here are indoor, outdoor cameras for that very reason. I don't heat this. It will get 20 degrees if it's 10 degrees outside, right? I heat it when I'm here. So I also have to take into account temperatures that can go up and down. So I'm gonna put it on this pole right behind that stoplight. I think that's my most ideal location above that camera. And I've already ran a network cable right here that I'll use for it. So, you know, when you set up an access point, you got to have a physical cable going to it. And then that cable goes all the way into the back room back here. And that will go into my Power over Ethernet adapter. And the Power over Ethernet adapter is going to go into the Comcast business modem. But you can see that's just a solid brick wall. So that's why, you know, this little guy does a good job, but when you get farther in that garage, you don't get the reception you need. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mount the screws for the actual access point. I'm gonna lay this right up against the pole, and then I can just drill into it. I don't want to mount this like right to the top of the ceiling because I'd like to be able to just get on a step ladder like I'm doing here to access it. Now, if you're doing this outside, definitely think about your environment. Think about the hardware that you're using. Think about the durability, right? These are not big screws here, but for this application, it's okay. You could also pole mount this. I mean, however you want, you can do it. Just make sure if you're putting it outside up high, it could be taking some wind and you don't want this thing to be blown around or fall. Okay, so my next step, I'm gonna put these antennas on. So I would take each antenna. Remember, when you mount it, the antenna is going to face up. Give yourself enough clearance. So that's a 5G one, and the antenna here says 5G. It's going to slide in to the slot, and it should just let you tighten it right down like so. So that's my 5G. The next one is a 2.4 gigahertz antenna. Great quality antennas here. And you have that little washer here. You're gonna notice on that 5G one, when I was unpackaging it, I'm glad I noticed that. Not that it matters in this application, but my little washer came off. Let's put that back on. Or O-ring, or whatever you wanna call it, to keep moisture out of this. And then we can plug that back in. That's going to be an important step. Make sure those little O-rings are not missing. And then we have the 2.4 gigahertz. It says 2.4 gigahertz here. Lay it down. and tighten it up just like that. The only other component to this is going to be my power over Ethernet. It's going to go in like that. I'm going to slide the cable through. So, you know, you can take this guy off and you can pop your cable right through there to keep that nice and weather resistant. And then it's going to mount on the wall like so. And that, my friend, is a pretty legit setup. Let's go get it mounted. Now, when you're getting ready to hook this up, this is going to screw into the bottom of the access point. You can open this up and you can take this. If your cable is already terminated, it won't fit. But this little tiny washer comes off and it's open already. So you can wrap that around the cable. Then you can feed it through and everything will fit okay. Because when it comes, this is going to already be inside. And you're going to be like, oh, the cable won't fit. So just push it out with your finger and open it up like I just showed you. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. I just fed it just like so. Then I can take this guy. Actually, I did it wrong. See, I'm telling you what to do. Not paying attention. Just feed that through like so. Then open this up and put on the cable. Like so. Then you have this guy that you can feed through. So you're going to go just like this. Put that in there. Then you can create that weather seal again. You can screw that in. So now your cable is protected. Now, if it's not terminated and you're just running the cable, you know, it's just going to go right through that little hole. But that's still going to give you some nice weather resistance, which is what you want. And then that's going to go into the bottom of the access point. So then you can take the access point right here, and I can actually put this on the mount. So all of those screws should be perfect, and it mounts really nice, just like so. Then I can take the cable here and I can plug my Ethernet in. I'm trying to see what way it goes. The tab is going to face you. So I'm going to plug the Ethernet in. And then once the Ethernet is in, then you can tighten that back up. Clean these wires up in a little bit. But for now, that's how it's going to be. Let's take a closer look, huh? So this is what it looks like up close. Pretty dang beefy, if you ask me. Heck yeah. And you can see how that cable is in there. And since I'm doing power over Ethernet, I don't have any power or any of that to worry about. Let's hook up that power over Ethernet. Okay, I'm back here on the utility room, and I want to show you this power over Ethernet setup here again. This is going to go into the switch. This is going to go into the cable running to the camera, and it will say PoE. And then this is going to go into power. So I want to go ahead and get this cable, which is the cable I just ran, or previously ran to the camera, or sorry, to the access point. I'm going to go ahead and drop this down a shelf here. There we have it. I'm going to take my power over Ethernet power brick. The nice thing about these two guys, if this goes kapoop, like if you get some power surge or something crazy happens, you can buy, you know, ones on Amazon cheap. This is plugged into, you'll notice down here, this is plugged into a UPS, cyber power, so it protects it if there is a surge. This is a 100-plus-year-old building, so I like to do that. Have that plugged up, and then I go ahead and I take this cable, which is the one going to the access point, and at this point, It should be feeding. I don't like that that light isn't on. So what an amateur mistake I just made. On-off switch. I didn't plug it in. So I can go ahead and plug, I didn't hit it. That's what you should be getting. That's what I wanted. For a second there, I was thinking my power over Ethernet switch was bad. And you can see under here, I got that little blue light, maybe. So I know it's getting power. I know I can go to the computer and begin to do configuration. Okay, so the next step, I am back in my office. You can go here to your wireless networks, and I can see that there is a Wavlink, a few of them, the 5G and the non one. Phenomenal reception. Back here, even on an extender, I was only getting 4 bars, and it just wasn't that great. This bad boy is like blowing things up. I'm going to connect to the 5G. And this is why I'm hoping I can begin to configure it specific to my liking. Action needed, no internet. That's okay. It's taking me to a page, which I hope is the configuration page. Continue to site. And it's taking me to the internal link. Please set up this device first. Fantastic. That is what we want. The default password is admin. So I'm going to log in. And I can begin to do some configurations. Country or region. United States. Whoops. United States. Time zone. Okay, so I had to enter my specific admin new password, and I'm going to do my SSID is going to be jamzDOTnet, and then I can set up my password that's going to be broadcasting that SSID. So this is now saving the settings and all that good stuff with the SSID that I've configured in the SSID broadcasting name. So it's going through and I guess locking all of that in, which is fantastic. So far, this is pretty darn easy. I'm digging it, and the reception is phenomenal. So now you can see it's broadcasting the new one. I'm going to say connect. So I entered my new password, so it's broadcasting the new SSID, jamzDOTnet. And I am now connected. So is it really that easy? Man, this thing's blazing. I used to get about 10 megabits a second in here, just to put that in perspective. This is absolutely astonishing how quick it is. I love it. So I'm back to the admin page here. It's connected, the uptime, your firmware. You have your 2 SSIDs broadcasting, 19% CPU usage, 57%. It's connecting with 2.4 gig, 5.4 gig, jamzDOTnet access point mode. I'm doing everything via DHCP. You can go to wireless, you can change your SSID, you have some advanced settings in here. I'm doing all automatic settings. I might eventually disable the the one from Comcast. Device status, everything here. Let's go back to advanced mode selection. I'm doing access point mode, but this is where you can do a repeater. You can do mesh, so this device can be used in different applications if you're trying to repeat a signal, say over a big warehouse or a big farm or something like that. Network settings, all DHCP, which is what I want. Firmware update. Check for a new version. There is a new version, so we're going to go ahead and download and upgrade. So let's look at some more of these settings. Advanced, so we did the firmware, backup and restore. You can generate backup files, that's great. Time zone, admin, timing reboot, network diagnostics. You can do a test here if you can't connect. I don't need to do that, it is connected. LED control. So you can basically say how you want the LED to be, I guess, the LED status. And signal adjustment, so you could really refine what you're doing in here. I'm going to keep it how it's set with high. So those are the settings, and you can do a reboot on this Wavlink access point. So what I want to do is I'm going to go back to that speed test. Now again, this isn't indicative of the device. It's my internet through Comcast Business. But what I want to show you is the difference. So I'm connected to the Wavlink, and you can see my downloads, well over 100 megabits steady. And my uploads usually top out around 20, I guess, or so megabits per second, which that is indicative of the Comcast Business plan I have. I do need to get them to increase that upload speed. My point is, when you have a really poor signal, so I'm going to open up a new tab here. I'm going to go down and I'm going to change to the old connection, the old Wi-Fi still broadcasting in here. So I'm going to connect to that one, Jason and Jack's 2.4, and we're going to run the same speed test. And you can see I'm getting like 10, 11, 12 megabits per second. So significantly different because the connection speed was really poor in the office. I mean, you can see down here, it's like at 50%, 2 bars. It's just not that quick. And you can see my upload speed is even more drastic. We're at 5.3 megabits a second on the old access point, and my upload speed is struggling. I mean, I wasn't able to do like video calls from here easily. So when you go to the old one, the new one, 105 megabits, the old one, 5.3 megabits, the new one, 17 megabit up, the old 3. So I'm going to go to the other access point. I installed a extender. So this is a 5 gigahertz extension. So I was repeating the old one. Let's test again. And even with the 5 gigahertz extender, I wasn't even able to get over 50 megabits per second. So I've completely alleviated that issue now. So this is the 5 gigahertz old connection with the extender. So I had an extender in the garage, and I was only getting 44 megabits up and 44 down, 17 up, versus 105 down. So absolutely, it speaks for itself. Okay, so I just want to go ahead and do a basic test here. So you can see that jamzDOTnet signal in the garage is perfect. All of them are pretty good right here, but this is phenomenal. So we're going to go ahead and walk a little bit farther and see how this signal maintains. Let's go ahead and go up to the front of the building here. I'm still cranking with really good signal. Let's go outside and see how it's looking. So it looks like I've lost, like, if you can see that, a little bit. 1 bar bounces between 2. I'm going to the far corner of the building right now, outside. This is the weakest point because I'm all through that cinder block. And it's low quality right here. It's saying low quality on my phone. I don't know how much of this you can see. I'm hoping you can see some of it. But as I work my way back here, it's starting to pick up. It should start to pick up quite a bit right here. And you can see exactly, like, great reception right here. So even through all this cinder block, it's doing a pretty darn good job outside. I am on the corner of the building, and I'm going to do a speed test out here. So I'm connected to it, speed test. I mean, I'm getting great speed. Look at that, all the way outside, all the way outside at the intersection. 110, and my upload speeds are sticking to what I think they're capping me at, Comcast Business. This is outside of the building. So short and sweet, I'm digging the Wavlink. I think for the price, 200 and some bucks, it's giving you durability. It's giving you 2 gigahertz, 2.4, 5 gigahertz. It's working fantastic in this application. Thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed this install video, and I hope it answered any questions you had about what to expect if you get this Wavlink access point. Have a great day, and again, this is Jason with jamzDOTnet, cars, DIY, and adventures. And now we got some good Wi-Fi in there, so we'll be able to do some better live streaming.